Hello and welcome to today's episode of Dream Business, Dream Life. Today I'm joined by Danny and Katie Bloomfield, founders of Bloomfields, property experts, and so much more. Hello, both. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you?
Yeah,
Hello.
we're
Yeah,
good, thank
brilliant.
you.
Really good. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to start this how I start all of my podcasts, and I'm going to hand over to you to tell us a little bit more about yourselves.
Thank you. So as you said, we're Danny and Katie Bloomfield. So we're property investors, developers, we're entrepreneurs, we're founders of the Bloomfields, and we just love helping people um, who feel like there's more out there for them. They feel like there's something else that life was meant to give them and that they are capable of more. So people that feel a little bit lost maybe or stuck reach the life that fulfills them. So that's what we're passionate about. We're also, like I said, property investors, developers. We've built a large portfolio and parents of six children.
There you go. I told you so much more, didn't I? I told you it was,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Yeah.
so much
Oh my
more.
God.
And two
Amazing.
dogs. Yeah.
Can't miss that bit off. Can't miss that bit off. I mean, we are super aligned, aren't we? I talk about dream business, dream life. I talk about building a business that feels as good on the outside. Sorry. Yeah, feels as good on the inside as it looks on the outside. I don't want to get that the wrong way around, do I? And you talk about escaping the apathy tax. Can't even say that phrase, never mind anything else. So we're 100% aligned there. So tell me a little bit more about why you're so passionate about it.
Oh, I think that's a great question, actually, Emma, because we've all got a story, haven't we? We've
Yeah.
all got a
Yeah.
story, and I think everybody, maybe we have not. I'm not going to say sob story, but everyone's got a story, and I think we've both lived a life that we weren't fulfilled in, and when we met each other, we'd both been
Mm.
through quite messy divorces.
Yeah.
We had five children between us already. And we'd felt stuck. You know that phrase that you get told, you made your bed, you got to lie in it.
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah, right. I think there'll be a lot of listeners who are similar to that as well. And thinking that just because that's the path that you have taken to this point, thinking that that's the path you have to stay on. And we are super, super passionate, not just about, I mean, we put a grenade in our life and blew it the fuck up. So we are super passionate about our children and the generations that will follow us, and then helping like our clients and the people around us to do what makes them happy, to do what makes them fulfilled. And there is there is a way for that to happen. Um, right when you remove the limits, there's a way for that to happen, isn't there?
Absolutely. And I think so many people play to the I should, or they say I need to do that, or to be successful, I need to earn this amount of money, or I need to do
Yeah.
this, or I need to be there. And I think it's stripping all of that back, isn't it? It's stripping all of that back and actually getting clear on actually what do you want? What does a happy life look like to you? Because that's different for all of us, isn't it?
Absolutely. And sometimes, well, actually all the time, what we want will change, and that's okay. And there's a lot of stigma, isn't there, around, well, actually, I want to do this. Okay. But actually, I've sat with it, and now actually, I really don't want this. I want this. Okay, and I'm not talking here about quitting something without trying. I'm not talking that. But actually the bravery and the balls that it
Mm.
takes to change path, whether that be a career, a relationship,
Yeah.
your mindset, however you're thinking, it can be really brave sometimes to stand against everybody that you've ever been around and stand up and say, actually, I don't think like that anymore. I'm thinking a bit differently.
And that's
You know,
part of the growth, isn't it? That's part of the
yeah,
growth, isn't it? Because I think, when we first, when we're younger, let's go back in a little age, when we're younger, we don't really know what we want. And as we grow in both age and maturity and life lessons and all of these hurdles and things that get chucked in our way that we have to find a way around, we see things differently. We get different perspectives, don't we? And I think it's knowing that that is okay, isn't it? That is absolutely okay. And in some ways, I think it's the best thing that can ever happen to you. It's the best things that ever happened to me, doing exactly what you did, chucking that grenade and saying, bye bye, life, we're going to start again. And that's okay. Scary, but okay.
Yeah, and I think it is scary and it is definitely okay. And I think it's when that awareness suddenly comes. That awareness suddenly comes of I don't like where I am at the moment and I want to be somewhere else. Whether that's physically, location wise, or whether it's mentally or whatever it is. Um, and once you can then figure out what your version of success looks like, what is success for you in your life, not what we see on Instagram, not what we
Right.
see on TV or anywhere else in films, but what does it look like for me? Then you can start moving towards that. And it's amazing, isn't it? The universe is incredible at when we suddenly make that decision, things just start dropping into our life that we started wanting to move towards, and opportunities start happening. And I think I was told this phrase many years ago that change only happens when the cost of standing still is greater than the cost of change. And a lot of people are scared to make that change, or pull the pin out and throw the grenade in. But sometimes the cost gets too great. And that's at the point when we hit the so-called rock bottom of whatever that looks like, or the cost becomes too great. That once that person has made that choice that something needs to be different, then the magic can start happening.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think having people like us who are here and open and ready to share our stories, our journeys, that helps people to see that it's okay and there's another side, doesn't it, as well? When people are in that rock bottom stage, and I imagine your clients like mine, they're not all in rock bottom stage. It's not that they've all gone boom and blown everything up. It's just that feeling sometimes, isn't it, that this just doesn't something just doesn't quite sit right.
Yeah.
There'll usually be one area of a lot of the clients that come to us, they think it's something, but actually that's not the problem. What they think is the problem is generally not the problem, is it?
No, not.
It's usually like stemming from another part of their life because their focus is going over here, or it's all look, we're people. Our intricate lives weave in, so everything um affects something else, doesn't it? So when something's not right, it can cause a massive blip.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know you two are very much talking about the importance of relationships as well in your
Mhm.
business and that sort of thing. I mean, you two work together, which is phenomenal. I worked with my husband for 16 years. I love it. I was also, had that great relationship. I was able to do that. But not
Yeah.
everybody is lucky to have that relationship, are they? To have those people that they can, whether it's bouncing stuff around or share the emotions or even share the dream with. So that's part of it, isn't it? Your home life, I suppose.
Absolutely. We talk about having a shared vision and a shared dream, and I think there's a lot of cases, especially with the people that we've worked with, where one partner wants to share a dream and the other one's not on board with it.
Mhm.
And like it needs to be like, don't get me wrong, everyone can have their own dreams as well. But if we're working for different things, then we
Mm,
actually end up so far apart that we can't see each other anymore.
yeah.
So having that shared goal and the shared vision, so you can work on things separately. And obviously, I'm still me and you're still you, but we have this one shared vision. Um, does make it easier to work towards. I'm not going to say easier. The word easier shouldn't have come out there, but easier in the way of us working towards it together because you can divide and conquer. There's two of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing's for certain in life is there's change happening all around us all of the time. As much as there's certain people out there that say, I don't like change. Well, actually, a fact of life is things always changing. Look at the trees at the moment. They're changing from what they were a month ago. Life's changing. And it's if you've got that shared commitment and communication around trying to change together, grow together, even if it's not working together on the same projects, as long as you're growing together, I think that is a key thing. We love working together, and it gives us a lot more opportunity to hang out together as well, and doing you know, we're big, Emma, on our life is one complete thing. Within it, there's business. Within it, there's personal stuff. Within it, there's health. Within it, there's growth, personal development. There's all these things, but actually, it's one life. And the more we keep that together and fine tune the things within it, the smoother and more beautiful that one life can be, rather than segmenting it into lots of different um, compartments. So
Mm.
that's something we're really passionate about. And just touching on what Kate said earlier, um, there's normally the symptoms, and that's what people come to us to talk about, the symptoms. But actually, there's something deeper that's causing those symptoms that is the real problem.
Mm.
But when we become aware of something, It might be the business is not working how we want it to, and it's taking up too much of our time, and we end up feeling like we're working for the business rather than business working for us. That's a symptom. So what is the root cause of it? What do we need to get underneath the bonnet to work out why that is happening? And that's the beautiful thing, that we all have that choice. If something's not quite right, we all have the choice to do something about it, and we can find a better way.
That's it.
Mm.
And I think that's key, isn't it? There always is a way to get what you want to get out of life. And that, as you say, that puts everything in that box, doesn't it? Business,
Yeah,
family life, the whole lot sits in that box. There is always another way, isn't there? There's always a different way to do things.
Yeah.
yeah,
And you can't always see it. I mean, you mentioned the apathy tax that we talked about earlier, and we've got a keynote speech that where we talk about apathy tax, and we relate it. I mean, our surname's Bloomfield, right? We relate it to a garden. Okay. So if you have a garden, you don't do anything to it whatsoever. What is it like? There's thorny bits everywhere. There's mud everywhere. There's a shed that's falling down, grass up to your knees or whatever. Everything's just very unkempt. And that's how your life is if you're not addressing the certain areas. And
mm,
if you can think about like even something as simple as like the grass being your mindset, just to think about you have to constantly water the grass and mow it. It's lots of different things you might need to feed it and put a fertilizer on it. And there's lots of different components to just making the grass right. It's
yeah,
not just a one and done. And like the big goals and the big dreams might be a big tree. It might get too big at one point and you might need to just trim it back, keep it under control. The different parts, aren't there? I mean,
mm,
we say that like the flowers are like the joy. You want lots of flowers in your garden, but they have to take each flower has its own season. Now, I'm not a horticulturist by any means, but actually, I can't really keep flowers alive very long, can I? But when you can start to think of it like that, actually, we need to plant certain bulbs at certain seasons to feel the joy later. And when you can start to think of your life in that way, actually, you can. I know you said about not segmenting it, but we need to segment in certain areas to say, right, okay, let's look at this bit now and then let's move on to another part.
Yeah.
And
yeah. You need to break it down
breaking
to
it
be able to
down,
build it back
yeah,
up. You absolutely need to
yeah,
That's
segment.
it. And there's priorities, isn't there? In life, in business, in
yeah,
everything, there's always going to be areas that needs more focus right now than the next bit. So yeah,
Yeah.
I absolutely get that. And I love that. And do you know what's interesting? That analogy, most people, and I'm saying most, wouldn't let the garden get in that state, would they?
No.
But they do with their lives, they do with the businesses, they do with, because somehow, even though it is the most important thing that they've got, being happy, being joyful, being all of those things, it somehow gets pushed down and down and down the priority list, doesn't it? And that's one of the things that I'm passionate about, showing people that actually you are the most important thing. Because if you keep you healthy, wealthy, happy, and all of those things, everything else is so much easier to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely, it
Yeah.
is. So we have broken down the wealthy life, your wealthy life, into 5 areas that we think make the wealthy life, because a lot of people are talking about wanting more money. But it's not just more money that you want, because why do you want the more money then? What are you going to do with it? What's it going to bring you? Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I want more money as well, but I can tell you what I want to do with it as well.
Mm,
So, and wanting more money isn't always a bad thing. But without your health, what do you have? So, because you haven't got anything to enjoy the money with, then
mm.
without the connections, and I'm not just talking about romantic connections here, I'm talking about connections to your clients, to your family, to your friends, to yourself. Um, without those connections, well, what you're not going to make that money either. So we've broken it down into 5 areas, haven't we?
Yeah.
Do you want to share those, or am I just
Yeah. No.
I'm just talking?
Uh,
It's a podcast.
it's a podcast. That's what it's about.
Yeah, we have to talk.
Yeah, got to talk. It's a pretty important part of it. So it look for us, it's about how do you create the magic? How do you create the magic of your wealthy life? And it's it's but coming from a belief of and an experience of not having it all, and finding at one point in my life business is great, another point in our life is great, but at no points in our life have both been great. And why is that? And it's because there wasn't a structure, we didn't have a formula, we ignored certain bits, like you said, Emma. There's certain bits of our garden that are well overgrown, but if it was physically our garden, wouldn't happen, but in our life it does. So we believe to make the magic, you need maximum health. How do you focus on keeping maximum health? Mental, physical, emotional. Assets. What are we growing longer term wealth for? Assets. That could be a pension fund, it could be stocks and shares, it could be property, it could be business assets. So what are we doing there? Growth mindset. How are we constantly working and thinking about our growth mindset? Our income streams. Is it come from one place? Have we got multiple income streams? Do we need to increase the level of income in one thing because actually there's good potential in that one, but we've taken our eye off it, so that can grow more? Are we at the right level of income for us at the moment? And then the C is connection, like Kate's already said, connection to first and foremost ourselves, our life partners, our children, our family, our business partners, our staff, our colleagues, whoever it might be, friends, connections to build those really quality relationships. And that's the magic formula. We believe that by focusing on those five key life areas, that will give you a world in which you're pretty satisfied when you put your head on the pillow every night, and you'll wake up and your eyes will open and you'll feel pretty excited about the next day.
And that's what we want, isn't it? That ultimately, if people are completely honest and strip it right back to basics, that's what they want, isn't it? They want to go to bed feeling joyful. They want to wake up feeling just as joyful, having
Yeah.
had a good night's sleep because they're not kept awake all night thinking about all of the things that are making them miserable.
Oh,
Yeah.
isn't it horrible though when you can't sleep? Like,
And we've
is
all
it
been there,
horrible?
haven't
For
we?
yeah, for
Yeah.
anyone who's listening, like if you're there right now, like, oh, I feel you. It is
Yeah.
horrible, isn't it? When you can and you like you get that absolute insomnia and you're like,
Yeah.
I just can't, and your mind is racing and
Yeah.
yeah, it is horrible.
It is
But there
horrible.
is a way out of it. And I think that's what we just really passionate about, isn't it?
Yeah. It's what we're really passionate about, because when you're in that moment, it feels like nothing else in the world is going on and you feel really heavy and
Yeah.
deep.
Yeah.
And if we can, with all of what you're doing, Emma, and what we're doing, if we between us can help just inspire a few people to think differently, because that's where it starts. It starts with how we're thinking about what we're thinking about. It's how do we think about something a little bit differently than what we were, and that awareness of realizing we're not where we want to be and we want to be somewhere, we want to be doing something different, be somewhere different. That then is the catalyst, and it can then roll and gain some real momentum.
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly that. And, Katie, you just mentioned there about, money. We'd all like extra money for things that we can sit and say, extra holidays or whatever that looks like. But it's knowing what that money is for, isn't it? Because, money on its own is not going to make you happy. But what that money gives you, that's where the joy comes. That's where the happiness comes. And that links into, and you spoke about wealth. That sits in there, doesn't it? Because you're able to put some of that to something to stabilize your future and all of that type of stuff. So I love how you've linked all of that together.
Yeah.
It's
Money's important. It's like we need it for things. We need it for paying our bills. And we can't eat if we don't have any money. I mean, unless we're a farmer, but then we still need to buy the stuff to I digress. That's like where my brain is. But we need money for things to survive. It's like a basic security, isn't it? But we can also do some really, really cool things with money. Like when we've got more of it, it's a tool, it's a vehicle to get us somewhere else, to do something else with it, to have different experiences or provide different experiences for those not just around us, but for the people that are close to the things we care about. Um, so yeah, I mean, I get it. Like we have all these old phrases like money's the root of all evil and money doesn't make the world go round, etc., etc. But why not? If you're a nice person without money, you're going to be a nice person with money. And if you're a dick without money, you're probably going to be a dick when you've got money anyway. So, you know, I love money. I think money's great. I want more of it so I can do more cool things.
Yeah, and I think what you've just said, Emma, as well about the reasons why, the fuel. If you think about the idea, the goal of I want more money, that being a car, that doesn't move without the fuel. And the reasons why is what creates the energy for us. Why do we want that holiday? Why do we want the money? Why do we want to take the kids on a family holiday every year to create those magical experiences? That then creates energy and emotion, which is the fuel to get the car moving. Once we've created enough energy and emotion, we're much more likely then to be able to stick out the tough times and do it. We've got a power formula that we call it, Emma, which is behind every one of these goals, behind every one of these life areas. If what is the formula to implement them? Because that is the next bit. Once you realize I don't like where I am, I'm not a tree, so I can move. I want to do something different. The next bit though is, so how do I do it? How do I keep fit? How do I keep going to the gym or have a fit hobby? But how do I then work at the same time? And how do I think about building assets? And oh God, I've got to now try and connect with people and see people as well. And how do I do all of that? So it comes back down to strategy again, just some scaffolding and some simple processes to help keep this moving. Because consistency is then the next bit that you're looking for. How do I keep doing something consistently to build the habit? So P stands for purpose. So with all of these things, which is what I just talked about there, the energy, the emotion, how do we create a purpose? I want to increase my income by X number of pounds per month. Why do I want to do that? What's the purpose behind that goal? What does it matter to me if I do that or don't do it? So let's create a purpose that is a top of the mountain. This is what it looks like, and this is why it's important. O is for organization. So how do I need to now organize myself differently? If it's I want maximum health, that's the purpose because I want to be a healthy, fit dad running around after my children in the garden, jumping on bikes, going on the park. I want to be doing all of this without getting out of breath and needing to sit down for 10 minutes. How do I organize myself? Right, I need time to go and do that every week. I want to go to the gym 3 times. I want to walk for 10,000 steps a day, and I'm going to put an hour in at lunchtime to do it. What do we do to organize? W is willpower. Right, how am I going to find the willpower when tough times get tough? What am I going to do to help give myself some of that um, discipline to be able to do that when it gets difficult? E is for environment. How do I need to change my environment? How do I change my energy? What needs to be different to enable me to achieve that purpose? And then R is what are the results I'm looking for? Once I know what results I'm looking for, how am I then going to measure them? How am I going to review them? And then we spin all the way back round to the top of the tree again at purpose. And once I've got my results, am I on track for my purpose? Yes, I am. Great. Carry on. No, I'm not. Right. What do I need to do slightly different? Let's work through the power formula again and just keep rerunning the cycle. That's the scaffolding to help anybody implement some of their goals and ideas so they can sustainably and consistently keep working on those life areas.
Absolutely. And I'm here waving my pom-poms, but I haven't got any, but I'm actually pretending to wave my pom-poms. But I completely am behind you with that. I talk a lot about clarity before strategy. And the clarity is obviously it's the why, it's the purpose, it's the dream, it's the, what are you doing all of this for? Because I think you've got to know that, you've got to understand that. And I think you've got to understand that at a really, really intricate level. And from personal experience, that can be quite an uncomfortable process, can't it? Actually digging into your why. Why do you actually do this stuff? And I think it's one that a lot of people skip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. But the more you can lean into that, it is hard to start with. But I've found it's a bit like an ice bath. When you first get in the ice bath, it just hurts. It feels horrible. And then after
Well,
a
you
minute
can't
or
get in to
so,
start with, actually, can you?
no. And then after a minute or so, it just feels warm. As long as you stay really still, it feels warm. And the numbness has now hit in, the pain sort of dropped off, and it just feels warm. And it feels quite nice and pleasant, actually.
I'll
I
have to
think,
take your word for that one.
yeah,
I have
That's
to
yeah.
put
just
my
it,
little
mate.
toe in.
That's just it, because you put your little toe in and you take it out again. And then you
Exactly.
put your foot in and you take it out again. And you're like, hang on, why am I do this? Because it's not nice. And then but you're kind of a bit curious. So you're like, I'm just going to put one leg in and see what happens. And you put one leg and you're like, oh my God. But you kept it in for a bit longer, right? And I mean, I'm a gobby one when it comes to that, aren't I? I can't get in there quietly. But then when you start breathing a bit calmer and you feel calmer with it, you start to regulate.
Yeah.
Like it is so good for
And
you. Like it is, and it feels good, doesn't
yeah,
it?
it's a good,
Not,
it's a
we're
good
not we're
habit.
talking about ice baths
No,
specifically
but my
as a
point
metaphor.
is when you start thinking about your why, it feels uncomfortable. It's a bit
Yeah.
painful to start with, like you said.
Yeah.
But I actually find that once you work through that, and if you stay in that moment and you just allow that to then happen, becomes really exciting and powerful by the end because I love the time when we every quarter we come back to our goals and we do some of this work and we look at it. I love that visionary stuff. It's so exciting. I feel the energy building because I'm sharpening all the time the ideas. We're connecting more energy and emotion and more detail to the goal, which gives it way more fuel and power, which means our willpower is going to be even stronger when it comes to the tough times because that's life, isn't it? Nothing's going to be really easy. Life isn't going to hand you something and go, right, you want your goal, it's not where you are at the moment, and we're just going to move all the barriers and it's just going to be same plain and really easy for you.
Yeah.
There's things that come in a way. That is it. The trick isn't to avoid them. The trick is how do I move through them, round them, over them, underneath them, whatever it is, until the next one comes. And then I'm a bit stronger to be able to deal with the next one. So yeah, I think it's that clarity work at the start is the key to the sustainability.
Absolutely. And we're not saying it's easy. It's, doing
Oh,
business, doing
oh,
life is not an easy
hell
process,
no.
is it? There's always
No.
hurdles that come in your way. But the more you focus on that, whatever that is, that vision, that purpose, that dream, that clarity, whatever we want to word it, the easier it feels because you know that you're doing it for the right reasons rather than doing it because you think you need to, or the business is forcing you to, or life is forcing you to. Doing it because
Yeah.
you know it's all going to move you in the right direction and going through that pain barrier, whatever it sits and looks like, whether it's an ice bath or something completely different, the next step is easier, isn't it? And easier the more you do it. So yeah,
We've
love that. We are so aligned. It is scary
yeah,
how aligned we are. And I remember when I walked away from my old business, and stepping into like, I don't even know who I am, never mind what I want to do. In my head, it was like, I just want to help people in business to be happy because I don't think that the two things should be in isolation. And I think
Yeah.
so many people do that. You spoke, Danny, about putting things into boxes in effect. And I think so many do that, don't they? Here's life, here's
yeah,
business, and work-life balance sits in the middle, whereas actually it's chuck them all in the middle box and let's see what comes out.
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes. How do we get our life balance right? And we're this very similar story as well to yourself. We had a business that we sold about 18 months ago, 20 months ago now,
Yeah.
something like that. Um, and even the easy things felt really hard. It felt really hard. And now the hardest things in our businesses, our life now, feel way easier than those things because we're aligned with them. They meet our purpose. We've got a real good values match with our businesses because they're our businesses now, and we're really aware of it. They're just really synergized and interlinked. Whereas before it wasn't, and it just felt difficult. It wasn't enjoyable. The businesses, again, talking from experiences, it wasn't a dream business and it wasn't a dream life because the business ran our lives. We were slaves to the business. It was horrible. It felt like a prison sentence. Um, and we've been very clear since then of not getting back into that situation and understanding, trying to unpick it. Why was it like that, and what do we need to do differently so that doesn't happen? So it is our life. It is our life balance, and sometimes that means us working at 2 a.m. and we're very happy and enjoy doing that because we've chosen to, and that's the right time. And probably because we want to get off early and go on holiday the next day, or because we've had a sports day the day before, or something else going on in our life that we said, well, we won't do that then. We'll just do an evening shift and we'll do that during the day because that's important to us.
Exactly. And that's choice, isn't it? And I think that to me is a key thing for a lot of people, isn't it? From when they look at their why, it is to have those choices that
Yeah.
you are making, not something is forcing you to
Yeah.
do it, whatever that sits like. Such an important word. Choice. Love that. Absolutely love that. Right, we are running out of time. So what I want you
Ooh,
to do now,
already?
I
I feel like we
know,
can
goes so
talk for
quick.
probably 6 hours. Like,
We probably could, maybe that's what we need to do, an all-day
a
podcast.
marathon. Yeah, let's do a
A
marathon.
podathon.
Podathon. Is
Yeah,
that a thing? Podathon?
I
Yeah,
mean,
why
it's
not?
not,
it
it
is
should
now.
be.
You heard it here. Heard
Yeah.
it here. Okay, so I know we've shared lots and lots of value. You've shared frameworks and all sorts with the listeners, but we always end with one top tip. Now, technically, two of you. If we want to sneak two in, go for it.
Okay.
Do you
Yeah.
know?
Do
Oh, there was silence.
you want to go
You,
first?
I can.
You go
I'm
first.
kind of just thinking off the cuff. Top tip. Okay, top tip. So the five areas that we mentioned, maximum health, assets, growth mindset, income, connection. They make magic for a reason. What I would say, my top tip is to go and write your what does 10 look like for each of those areas? What does 10 look like? As wanky as you might think it is, write down what does 10 look like and then where are you now? And what do you need to do to get to the next point? That would be my top tip. It's probably a bit of a big one, but
Yeah, 10 out of
Hey, I
10.
didn't say it was going to be easy. We never
yeah.
told anybody it was going to be an easy one.
Yeah. My top tip I like to share because I think it's been an absolute game changer for us. Um, is every day, no matter how difficult the day before was, if you can imagine your life as a game, as a board game, you have a shit roll one day and then you just got to get up and roll a dice again, to have your next go and see if you can move further forward. And that's it for me. Every day, if you can just think about rolling the dice of the game of life, then the dices will roll in your favor some days, and you can then add them up together and start getting some momentum.
Love that. Love that. And I actually have a pink dice somewhere. So,
Do
hey, I'm
you?
going to get rolling. I'm going to get rolling. Okay. So, if anybody wants to come and listen, they might want to come and listen more to you. If they want to come and find you, and I'm sure they are going to want to come and find you, where's the best place to find you? What can you offer to them?
Oh, we can offer a place of everything. We're everywhere.
Mm.
So on Facebook, personal profiles, Katie Bloomfield, Danny Bloomfield, you know it's us because we've got the wanky blue tick, just because there's so many fakers out there, aren't there?
Yeah.
No, we work with a lot of money and investment, so we have that so people know it's us. At the Bloomfields Life on Instagram, we've got a joint Instagram page. Again, you'll know it's us because of the blue tick. And we do have a gift to give away as well. I mean,
Yeah.
if anyone would like to download the Your Wealthy Life playbook, I think you'll put it in the show notes, Emma, aren't you?
Absolutely. I will
It
100%. Yeah.
helped hundreds of people so far. It might even be thousands. It is it's free. It's a free resource. The place to start if you feel a bit stuck, go there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super. Basically, find them anywhere and everywhere, apparently,
Come
which
and
is
find
great.
us. Come and say hello.
Just come and find us and say hello. Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining me. I have loved our conversation, and I hope you have too.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
we absolutely have.
absolutely,
It's gone
Emma.
really quick,
It
which is good.
has. It is. At least we
Yeah.
aren't. At least we aren't sitting here thinking, "What can we talk about next? What can we talk about next?" Right. And thank you, everybody else, for listening. We will see you next time.